The sky above New Tokyo was perpetually covered by a shimmering holographic sky that mimicked the sunset, which people had not seen for a century and a half. It was the year 2247. Elias sat in his tiny capsule on the 87th level of the vertical city, his face illuminated by the dim light of the neurointerface. He was a collector, one of the few who still engaged in the physical search and restoration of artifacts from the plastic age, as the 20th and 21st centuries were called. Most information was now stored in the cloud, but physical objects had their own inexplicable value. Today's goal was unusual. A message came through an encrypted channel from an anonymous customer: "Find the story machine." Elias pulled on his lightweight, self-cleaning jumpsuit. His partner, a small drone scanner named Skip, vibrated in anticipation. Skip, scan mode, low energy signature, age, up to 2050. Coordinates, Sector Gamma, 12, old archive storage facilities under the exclusion zone. Sector Gamma, 12 was what remained of old Shanghai, buried under layers of synthetic concrete and forgotten technology. The air there was thick, smelling of ozone and rust. They descended in a magnetic elevator that protested with a grinding noise before releasing them to ground level. "Too quiet," Elias muttered, activating his thermal imager. Skip flew ahead, his laser beam cutting through the darkness. Detected an anomalous cluster of organic fibers, Elias. And paper. Paper. A rare artifact. They made their way through the collapsed corridor, past the skeletons of ancient servers that resembled fossilized insects. Finally, they reached a small, airtight bunker that had somehow survived. Inside, it was dusty, but the air was dry. In the center of the room, on a pedestal of oxidized metal, stood an object Elias had never seen before. It was a small, rectangular box with a keyboard covered in faded symbols. Next to it lay a stack of flat, rectangular cards covered in ink. Skip, analysis. What is this? The drone hovered over the object, its sensors flashing. Identification. A device for text input and processing. Model, notebook, probably portable. Activated by a low-voltage power source. Elias gently touched the smooth screen. Nothing. He found an old, decayed power adapter, plugged it into the socket, and connected it to his wrist battery. After a long, agonizing pause, the screen flashed with a dim white light. A command line appeared. _ A story generator, Elias whispered. He understood. It wasn't a data generator, but a tool for creating, not just reproducing. He crouched down and, using his skills in hacking old protocols, managed to launch the only remaining program, a text editor. He remembered the customer's instructions: write a story about something that never happened. Elias was not a writer. His brain was trained to search for codes and recover data. But he tried. He typed. A man named Elias walked out of the building. The sun was yellow. He felt warmth on his skin. He pressed enter. Skip froze, waiting. Elias looked at the holographic sky outside, at the eternal artificial sunset. He had never felt real warmth. He continued. He breathed in the air, smelling of rain and wet earth. He didn't know what rain or earth meant, but his brain, using ancient neural connections, began to construct images. He typed for an hour, describing a world that existed only in his imagination, fueled by this archaic device. He wrote about fields, about blue skies, about the taste of fresh fruit instead of synthesized protein. He wrote about silence, unbroken by the hum of ventilation systems. When his battery began to run low, he finished with one last sentence. And in this world, where everything was new and real, Elias smiled because he finally understood what it meant to be free. He saved the file under the name reality.txt, turned off the machine, and took it with him. Returning to his capsule, he sent the file to the customer. A minute later, the reply came. File received. Reward transferred. You have completed your task, Elias. You have created the first authentic story in 150 years. Elias looked at his empty screen. He was still in New Tokyo, under an artificial sky. But now, when he closed his eyes, he saw a yellow sun. He realized that the story machine was not a device. It was a tool that made it possible to rewrite what was considered reality. And this. The story he had created now existed somewhere in the cloud, waiting for someone else to find it and believe in it. Elias leaned back in his chair. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like a collector. He felt like an architect.